Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at one of the most difficult to use yet high damage Pokemon in the Psychic Cup, Double Legacy Shadow Mewtwo. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now Shadow Mewtwo is so frail, so it definitely requires some careful usage. Now these battles are from prior to rank 20, so we may see some opponents with some interesting movesets, but what I'm here to focus on is the damage output from Shadow Mewtwo. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Double Legacy Shadow Mewtwo in action. Hopping to the first match, leading Galarian Rapidash into Malamar. This is a very favorable lead for Galarian Rapidash, even if Rapidash is not running Megahorn, which this Rapidash is opting for high horsepower. High horsepower, of course, does get better coverage against steals, but unfortunately does make the Rapidash have a worse matchup against Malamar. Thankfully, the threat of a Megahorn is still enough to grab a shield from the Malamar. Malamar is going to fire back with a Foul Play. Foul Play is going to get a shield. Rapidash past the double Body Slam here. Rapidash going for the move. Body Slam grabs the final shield from the Malamar. Going for the Body Slam. Had the high horsepower, but honestly, this could potentially set up a nice farm, because Body Slam is not going to be enough to KO. You can just let this go, and then you're not going to be able to Psycho Cut down, but you can probably Quick Attack down. In comes Victini. It sets up the perfect farm, and now Victini is set to absolutely crush in the back. Opponent is going to send in their own Rapidash. This is not enough for a Megahorn, so Victini can comfortably let this through. Body Slam is going to land. Overheat going to be taken care of the Galarian Rapidash. We'll have to see what they have in the back. It's Galarian Slowking, and this game is over. Shadow Mewtwo going for the Shadow Ball. Down goes Galarian Slowking, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Galarian Rapidash into Alolan Raichu. This is honestly a scary matchup for the Rapidash, even with high horsepower, because the threat of a Wild Charge is so good at grabbing a shield from the Rapidash. Opponent goes for the Thunder Punch. They're going to save switch into their own Rapidash, but the opponent is at a massive energy disadvantage. Body Slam number 1, able to land. Going for Body Slam number 2, continuing to apply pressure in this matchup. That's going to grab the first shield from the opponent. Opponent going to fire back with their own Body Slam. This is going to be close. Rapidash able to hang on and make it to yet another Body Slam, getting so much value out of the Rapidash, and now you can send in Victini. As long as they're not running high horsepower, you can tank whatever they throw here. Opponent is running Play Rough as the nuke move. Play Rough, honestly, I would say Megahorn definitely going to be preferred, as in situations like this, Play Rough not going to be a great time. Opponent, what are they going to send in? This Victini is loaded. They send in Alolan Raichu, firing off the V-Create into the Raichu. That's going to land. It's a Simul KO. What do they have in the back? It's a Shadow Gardevoir. These charms absolutely deleting Shadow Mewtwo. Mewtwo gets to the resistant Psy Strike. Psy Strike KOs the Gardevoir. And that's game over. Speaking of Gardevoir, we see a Shadow Gardevoir on the lead in the next match. Opponent is going to save switch into Alolan Raichu. Raichu farming up, and they're going to fire off a charge move as soon as they get there. Raichu goes for the Thunder Punch. That's able to grab a shield from the Rapidash. Rapidash going to bait with the Body Slam, trying to grab a shield from the Raichu. Raichu will commit the shield. Rapidash able to make it to another Body Slam, and this Body Slam will be getting the opponent low. Opponent lets it through, and here, honestly, I think you just save shields. Raichu, Thunder Punch is going to KO. You can send in Victini, but this is a bit uncomfortable, because that Raichu can have access to Wild Charge, and they do. And now Shadow Mewtwo without shields is a quite scary proposition. In the back, opponent running Claydol. Claydol is going to be hit with the V-Create here. V-Create able to land. In comes the Shadow Mewtwo. Opponent sends in the Shadow Gardevoir. Gardevoir is going to be hit with the resistant Psy Strike. Psy Strike gets the Gardevoir low. Gardevoir farms down, but now it's Victini's turn to farm down. Victini can make it to the back-to-back V-Creates. Yes, it can, and that will be game over. Had to use Shadow Mewtwo basically as a meat shield, but Victini, with great energy management, clutches up, KOs the Claydol, and secures the win. Picking up a tricky lead in the next match, Galarian Rapidash into Bronzong. Of course, this kind of matchup is exactly why Rapidash is running high horsepower to have a move that can hit for super effective damage. Rapidash, high horsepower, big damage onto the Bronzong. Bronzong is going to return fire with the heavy slam, and that's going to be grabbing a shield from the Rapidash. Opponent now going to save switch into defense Deoxys. Deoxys, not a Pokemon I've seen a lot of in the Psychic Cup. Much like Cresselia, it's basically just used as a gigantic meat shield, as Cresselia has what basically no Pokemon in this meta does: bulk, and a lot of it. Rock Slide is going to be getting the Rapidash quite low. Rapidash able to make it to another body slam, very close to a third, and gets there. This will be getting the Deoxys deep into the red here. Deoxys into the red, goes for the snipe with Victini, but Deoxys hangs on, makes it to the Rock Slide, and that deals big damage to Victini. Victini does get the farm down in the back. The opponent is running Malamar. Malamar will be met with a V-Create from Victini. V-Create gets a shield. Malamar farming up. Malamar winning CMP over Victini, and that is honestly not ideal, as unfortunately, Victini is forced to give up the final shield, and Shadow Mewtwo without shields is a very, very tricky situation. Victini farming up, going for V-Create, and the opponent makes an incredible catch, catching the V-Create onto Bronzong. That is not good. Malamar forced to throw energy. This game, honestly, at this point is looking really rough, but maybe with a catch. In comes Shadow Mewtwo, gets the catch. Maybe there's a chance. Mewtwo has to make it to the Shadow Ball here. In comes the Mewtwo. Mewtwo is going to barely get outpaced by the Malamar. Foul play definitely KOs, and that's game over. Moving into the next match, and we see a mirror lead, Rapidash into Rapidash, but the opponent is running Psycho Cut instead of Fairy Wind, and that is a massive mistake by the opponent, as you really don't want a Psychic Fast move in a meta dominated by Psychic types. Opponent gonna save switch into Bronzong. Bronzong is going to be met with the high horsepower, able to land. In comes Victini. Victini looking for the farm down. Bronzong with a sliver of HP makes the charge move. Victini commits the shield. Bronzong goes for the heavy slam. Victini would have been able to tank it. In comes Malamar. Malamar going to be met with the V-Create. This is going to hurt. Grabs a shield from the Malamar, makes it to the overheat, and Malamar is about to feel the wrath of Victini. Overheat gets them low. They're forced to fire off a charge move. Can you Psycho Cut down here? That would be a pretty cool farm down. Gonna send in the Mewtwo. Mewtwo farm it up, gets the catch onto the Rapidash. What a beautiful play, and this game is so over. Malamar going to get farmed down. In comes the Rapidash. Rapidash not going to be able to Psycho Cut down, forced to fire off a move. They're running Psycho Cut and Psychic. These are early rank battles, so we may see some interesting movesets, but what I'm interested in is the Shadow Ball one-shots, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Galarian Rapidash into Jirachi. Jirachi typically recommended to run Charge Beam in this meta, but this opponent is opting for Confusion. Charge Beam, definitely not a great fast move, but at the very least is not resisted by Psychic types. Opponent does respect the high horsepower with the shield, and they're going to be able to get shields back with Doom Desire. Rapidash farming up here. Rapidash goes for the catch, catching the Doom Desire onto Victini. Very nicely played. Victini able to absorb that resisted damage perfectly fine. Victini going straight for the V-Create, looking to punish Jirachi for staying in. V-Create gets a shield. Opponent is going to try and grab a shield back here from Victini. Victini choosing to let it go. Instead, saving the shield, potentially for Shadow Mewtwo in the end game. Rapidash going for high horsepower. That's going to be goodbye Jirachi. In comes Gardevoir. Gardevoir not going to appreciate high horsepower here. Gardevoir is so frail. That's going to get the Gardevoir low. In comes Shadow Mewtwo. Mewtwo with the farm down in the back. Opponent has Malamar. Malamar only takes neutral from Shadow Ball, but this will still do so much damage onto the Malamar. Malamar going to be able to grab the final shield with a foul play, but it's too little, too late. Mewtwo gets to the side strike. Mewtwo will be taking care of the Malamar, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Galarian Rapidash into another mirror lead. Gonna stay in this matchup to start. Opponent running Psycho Cut, much like the other Rapidash was. and that is definitely unfortunate for the opponent, as Psycho Cut doesn't really do anything for you in this meta. Opponent full set the Mega Horn, so that is a big shield. Gonna fire back with the Body Slam. Body Slam gets no shielded by the opponent, but Rapidash already at Body Slam number 2, looking to apply some pressure and grab a shield from the opponent. Rapidash farming up, opponent gonna send in Victini. Victini, do they respect the high horsepower? They do not, and Victini gets fairy winded down. Opponent now gonna send in Malamar. Malamar now knows that this is not running the Mega Horn, so Malamar doesn't have to fear a one-shot. Malamar is gonna tank the Body Slam and return fire here, hitting back hard with the Foul Play. Foul Play is gonna KO. In comes Victini. Victini unfortunately does lose CMP to Malamar, so Victini, instead of throwing right away, is actually gonna go for the extra. Foul Play is gonna land. That does get Victini low. We see a very nice catch by the opponent, catching the V-Create onto Rapidash, but then they shield. Oh my goodness, the opponent commits the shield. We see a no shield from the Shadow Mewtwo. Body Slam does so much damage. Oh my goodness, just fully sacrificing the Shadow Mewtwo to get farm on Victini. Victini just not able to farm down, as unfortunately Rapidash able to get to a move, but in comes the Malamar. Malamar's low enough. V-Create gets the KO and gets the win. Moving into the next match, hitting Galarian Rapidash into Victini. This is a bit of an uncomfortable matchup. Rapidash definitely does not appreciate V-Create from Victini. Rapidash farming up, going for the Body Slam on the CMP tie. Honestly, would probably much rather lose that CMP tie, so that way the Body Slam could land after V-Create had debuffed defense. Going for another Body Slam, Victini goes for the extra quick attack there. Body Slam, gets no shielded, down goes Victini. Opponent saving shields for their own Rapidash here, firing off the Body Slam into the opponent. Is the opponent going to shield? Yes, they are. We see a CMP tie. Unfortunately, the opponent's shiny Rapidash wins CMP. They are taking no chances, getting the KO with the Mega Horn. In comes Victini. Victini farming up a ton of energy here. Mega Horn would definitely hurt, but Victini would tank it. Body Slam gets no shielded. They're going for Body Slam number 2. This will get Victini deep into the red, so Victini is going to burn the final shield, and with no shields remaining for the Shadow Mewtwo, that is always a scary spot to be. V-Create KOs in the back. Is Bronzong gonna bank the back-to-back V-Creates, send in the Shadow Mewtwo. Mewtwo is going to get outpaced here, and unfortunately, I think the Victini might just be too low, because the feint attack that went through is going to register with the lower defense from the V-Create, and the second move cannot be reached. Hopping to the final match, hitting Galarian Rapidash into Alolan Raichu. As we've seen, this is a bit of an uncomfortable matchup for the Rapidash, because the threat of a Wild Charge is so good at grabbing shields from the Rapidash. Rapidash respects it. It's the Wild Charge. Opponent does not switch out, and that's a misplay by the opponent here, as now their defense is debuffed. These Body Slams would KO, so they're forced to commit not 1, but 2 shields here. Opponent definitely needed to safe switch out. Opponent continues to stay in, underestimating the spamminess of Rapidash, and they're going to lose all their energy and their Raichu. In comes Bruxish. This is bad. Bruxish shreds the backline. Mewtwo not going to make it to a Shadow Ball, but makes it to a resistant Psystrike. Psystrike still almost KOs with resisted damage. That is absurd. Victini going to be brought in. Needs to respect the Aqua Tail here. Bruxish went for the Psychic Fangs in the back. Opponent has Galarian Rapidash, but a Rapidash without shields is not going to appreciate the V-Create. That's going to be getting them very low. Rapidash firing off the Body Slam. Body Slam gets Victini low. Victini gets the farm down. Tried to switch into the Rapidash, but the Rapidash gets the win. All in all, Shadow Mewtwo, I would argue definitely more of a pick for fun than for climbing in the Psychic Cup, purely just based on how glassy it is. Even the slightest inkling of fast move pressure, and Shadow Mewtwo gets absolutely destroyed in 1500 CP formats. However, if Shadow Mewtwo can get energy and shields are down, it is an absolute destroyer of worlds, as even in a Psychic meta, there's basically nothing that wants to take either a no-shielded Psystrike or a no-shielded Shadow Ball. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.